Welcome to our daily top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis. My name is JC De Guzman. Today I'll be talking about 10 different stocks, the top 5 gainers and the top 5 losers with the biggest total turnover value in preparation for the next trading day, June 20, 2019. So I'd like to remind everyone that everything that I'm going to say here is for short-term trading purposes, not for long-term investing. I just want that to be crystal clear. So let's begin with the first stock in the list. We have PLDT. It closed today at 1,231 pesos per share. It managed to rebound or go back to its previous midterm support at or previous midterm resistance, which is now acting as its immediate support at 1,202 or 1,203, if we would like to round it up. And the resistance is at 1,388. We can say that's 1,390. It also managed to recover its position above the 10 SMA. Nonetheless, it remains bearish in the long term on the daily chart. I'd also like to mention that despite its recovery above the 10 SMA, MACD is still moving below the signal line. Yes, we're seeing that there's a formation of a bearish convergence between the MACD and the signal line, but PLDT must register a tall green candlestick for this convergence to be realized. I'd like to mention that foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 19 million pesos. Volume is looking good. There's also a formation of a bullish convergence between the positive and the negative DMI in favor of the bulls. But just like what I mentioned, PLDT must register a tall green candlestick for these bullish convergences to be realized. RSI, on the other hand, is still in the neutral level. So this is a trade and volume distribution chart of PLDT. The dominant range is between 1,216 to 1,231. Or we can say 1,215 to 1,231. 1,215 to 1,231 in favor of the, guess what? It's in favor of the, it's actually neutral for me. It looks neutral to me. But if we're going to look at on the trade volume, on the trade distribution chart, it's going to be in favor of the sellers here. Yeah, it's going to be in favor of the sellers. Now, my recommendation is this. Don't enter a new position on PLDT yet. Don't enter. Might as well wait for the confirmation of the satisfaction of our 10 SMA and MACD combination. The conditions of the 10 SMA and MACD combo. Wait for that condition to be, those conditions to be realized. Okay? Don't enter a new position yet. Okay, now next. I am bearish on PLDT still. GTCAP. GTCAP closed today at 920 pesos per share. It broke above its midterm resistance at 900 pesos per share, which is now acting as its current support. Resistance is at 1,042. It managed to recover above its 3 simple moving averages. Therefore, on the daily chart, it's bullish in the short term and in the long term on the daily chart. Okay, let me delete this one. Foreign investors registered a net foreign buying worth 67 million pesos. And the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combo are now already true. MACD is above the signal line. RSI is still quite far from the classical overbought level. The positive DMI is moving above the negative DMI, but the upward momentum is not yet very strong. And let's see. Let's check the trade and volume distribution chart to identify if that intraday bullishness is more likely to continue. The dominant range on the trade and volume distribution chart is between 909 to 920 pesos per share. By the way, GTCAP closed at 920, which happens to be the intraday high also. So that's in favor of the buyers. Okay, so with that, I think this intraday bullishness is more likely to continue. So if you have had GTCAP, you have a data-driven reason to top up. And if you are planning to enter a new position, you also have a data-driven reason to do that. Okay, provided you don't buy at any random price. Make sure that you always buy within the dominant range based on our trade and volume distribution chart. And if you'd like to see a fresh or the latest TVD chart, trade volume distribution chart, you can post in our private clients forum. Okay, so I am bullish on GTCAP. Next is ISM. ISM continues to move higher than its 10 SMA. I am seeing a perfect bullish alignment among its three simple moving averages. And current support is at 4.46, resistance is at 7.36. MACD is still moving above the signal line, therefore, the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combination are still true. RSI is already near the classical overbought level. The upward momentum is very strong. Foreign investors registered a net foreign selling worth 5 million pesos. Taking a look at its trade and volume distribution chart, and I would say that the price action was in favor of the buyers. The dominant range is between 6.9 to 7 pesos per share. So those who are planning to top up and enter a new position, you have a data-driven reason to do so. But for those who are planning to enter a new position, make sure that you calculate your reward to risk ratio first. Unless and until you are happy with your RRR, then do not do a test buy. Even if you've heard me say those bullish signals for any stock, not just for ISM. Okay, I am bullish on ISM. Chelsea, this stock closed today at 8.0 at 8.05. No, did it close at 8.05 at 8.04. Okay, and let me delete this one. Volume was also very good. Support is at 7.18. Resistance is at 8.94. MACD is moving above the signal line, and the price is moving above the 10 SMA. RSI, take note that it has already touched the classical overbought level. The upward momentum remains strong, and you're better off following your trailing stop loss if you have it. Okay, and yeah, let me show you the traded volume distribution chart of Chelsea. The dominant range is between 8 pesos to 8.05. That's in favor of the buyers. Okay, let me just give you a friendly reminder for those who are planning to enter a new position. Please do realize that RSI is already moving inside the classical overbought level. So make sure that you calculate your reward to risk ratio. If you are satisfied with your potential reward, if it's greater than your potential risk, then that's the time that you should do a test buy on Chelsea. Okay? So I am bullish on Chelsea. For those who already have Chelsea for a while now, you can still do a test. You can still top up on your position within the dominant range that I've mentioned. Next, Abacor. It closed today at 0.78. And the support is at 0.53, resistance is at 0.86. The price is still moving above the 10 SMA and MACD is moving above the signal line. The conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combo remain true. RSI is still a little bit below the classical overbought level. The upward momentum is already very strong on Abacor. Okay, and let's take a look at the trade and volume distribution chart. The dominant range is between 0.76 to 0.78 in favor of the buyers. So I remain bullish on Abacor. You can still top up and enter a new position. For the new entrants, your happiness level on your reward to risk ratio must be met first. Okay? So I am bullish on Abacor. It's more likely for the price to, the ascent in price to continue for Abacor. FPHEN closed today at 2.55 and unfortunately it closed below the 10 SMA and MACD is already moving below the signal line, so we're seeing some death crosses here. Okay, and yeah, the positive DMI is already downward sloping, so that tells us about the diminishing upward momentum, strength of the diminishing strength of the upward momentum. So a few days ago, the classical overbought level on the RSI was already hit, so that's the reason why profit taking was entertained when the price touches the 2.7 to 2.75 to 2.8 level. So if you have had FPHEN, you're better off following your trailing stop loss also. So don't top up. Don't top up. Hold your position if the price is still moving above the trailing stop loss. Don't top up. Hold your position. Once the TSL gets hit, you sell. Okay. Here's the trade and volume distribution chart for FPHEN. The dominant range is between 2.55 to 2.62. Obviously, it's in favor of the sellers. For the new entrants planning to trade FPHEN, no, not yet. This is not the right data-driven time for you to enter a new position in FPHEN. So just monitor the stock if you really like it. STI closed today at 0.73. It's still moving above the 10 SMA, but it's at the brink of crossing below the 10 SMA's line. MACD is still moving above the signal line. Okay, so technically speaking, the conditions of the our 10 SMA and MACD combo remain true. RSI is still quite distant from the classical overbought level. The upward momentum is still very strong for STI. Okay, so support is at 0.57, resistance is at 0.93. We can, technically speaking, it looks like STI is at the midpoint between these major support and resistance levels. Okay, so here's the trade and volume distribution chart for STI. It's between 0.73 to 0.74. Fortunately, that's in favor of the sellers. But looking at it, if you have had STI since, let's say, May 29, when the conditions of our 10 SMA and MACD combo were recently satisfied, I think your trailing stop loss has not been hit yet, unless you have applied a 1% risk tolerance, of course. Okay, so for now, I suggest that you hold your position. Don't top up yet unless you see the presence of the 4-point criteria that we always monitor. Unless those 4-point criteria are present, if they are not present, then do not do a test buy or do not top up yet. But nonetheless, my overall sentiment for STI remains bullish. For the new entrants, make sure that you calculate your reward to risk ratio before you do a test buy. Okay, I remain bullish on STI. Next, we have CYBR. It closed today at 0.455. It's at the brink of breaking below the midterm support at 0.45. Major support is at 0.32. Major resistance is at 0.54. You can see these numbers that I'm seeing on the horizontal lines on your chart if you're watching the video. Okay, the price is still moving above the 10 SMA. MACD is still moving above the signal line, and the upward momentum remains strong. But it's obvious here on the DMI histogram that we're seeing a diminishing strength of the bulls. So what does that mean? For those who have had CYBR, it makes sense to hold your position and sell once your trailing stop loss gets hit. But for the new entrants, don't buy CYBR yet. It can get worse than this. It can break below 0.45. Okay? Let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart. It's between 0.45 to 0.465 in favor of the sellers. Okay? So don't do a test buy yet. For those who have had CYBR, hold your position, sell once your TSL gets hit, but do not top up yet. All right. Next, FPHPC. This is a serious stock. I'm not trading serious stocks actually, but since this appeared in our top 5 losers list based on the total traded value, let me discuss this to you. Okay, it closed today at 432. Support is at 423. Resistance is at 505.505. Okay. I don't suggest trading serious stocks. So there's a liquidity issue on serious stocks most often than not, as we can see on the volume histogram of this series. Okay. See, there's also a breakdown below the below the signal line, and the negative DMI is already moving above the positive DMI. So we're seeing a lot of reasons to avoid this series stock of FPH. Okay, Series C. Okay, for what it's worth, let me show you the trade and volume distribution chart. It's at 432 in favor of the sellers. Huge cross trade happened there. Well, actually, it's not a cross trade because of a seemingly balanced percentage of volume with the percentage of trades that happened at 432. Anyhow, it's still in favor of the sellers. I am bearish on this series C of the First Philippine Holdings, or FPH. Last but not the least, we have Tech. Tech closed on today at 23.80. It's at the brink of crossing below the support at 22.7. Resistance is at 29 pesos per share, with the midterm resistance pegged at 25.9. MACD is already moving below the signal line. It's diving below the signal line actually. And foreign investors registered the net foreign buying. How much is this? I think it's an insignificant amount, less than 1,000,000 pesos. Net foreign selling, by the way. The negative DMI is already moving above the positive DMI. The downward momentum remains very, if I may add one more, very, very, very strong. Okay, RSI is already inside the classical over. It's about to touch and move inside the classical oversold level. So let's see if Tech will rebound in respect at 22, between 22 to 22.7. The trade and volume distribution chart tells us that the dominant range is between 22.75 to 23.15. It's still in favor of the sellers. So I'm not going to give a piece of advice for those who may still have a Tech, because I don't think some of you entered a new position in Tech, at least for the past 6 months. I've not seen a confirmed buy signal for Tech. Oh, not just for the past 6 months, but for the past for over a year and a half. Okay, I've not seen a strong confirmed buy signal for Tech within that duration. So my piece of advice for those who are planning to enter a new position: watch the price moving above 22 to 22.75. If it respects 22 pesos per share and the 4-point criteria all appear on the chart of Tech, then we can do a test buy within the dominant range at that very moment. But not for now. Not for now. It can get worse than this. It can break below 22.75 or 22 pesos per share. If that happens, where do you think is the classical no, not classical, but psychological support of Tech? It's at 12.85, in confluence with the 61.8% of the down Fibonacci extension. Imagine that, 12.85 Fibonacci wise. Okay, so I am bearish on Tech. Do I still need to say that? By just looking at this chart, you know that it's obviously bearish. Yes. Okay. So you've heard my technical analysis for these 10 stocks. If you have follow-up questions, please ask in our private clients forum. Thank you and have a great day.